Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Sharon Let's Live with Marlene Dillon Empowerment Specialist. So today I had to do something. I did something that was really challenging but necessary. And maintaining the energy to keep going as I did it was not easy. It was a very draining day, but it was a necessary day. I told you yesterday that I had to make some moves so that I could stand in my power and to take control of a situation. And I was so excited about that, and I was so empowered, and I was so proud of myself because I was so used to just letting people run over me and not really standing up for myself. But this time I decided that I was going to stand up for myself and do what I needed to do, even if it was hard. And I told myself throughout the day yesterday that I could do it, that I had to do it. And I had to do it for two reasons. One, because something that was really important to me was on the line. And two, someone who is really important to me was watching. I really needed to handle things because my daughter was watching. And I needed to let her know that you don't let people take advantage of you. So I woke up and was just doing all these different things to fix the problem that someone else created in my life. And as I did one thing, then I realized oh God, then I got to fix that too. Then I got to fix this and I got to fix that. And it was very draining and it was very frustrating. And it was easy to just be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm not doing anymore. But when something really important is on the line, you take care of your business. And I just had to keep telling myself, I know you're tired, but get back to it. We want to get this done today. Keep going. And it's really that type of thing, that it's those small choices in the moment that make all the difference in our lives. Over time, I had gotten really good at defaulting to, I don't want to. It's like a complete inner child breakdown, like a 2-year-old, I don't want to. and for a while, that was the answer. I'm not doing it. I don't feel like doing it. It's not getting done. And this is definitely a situation that it's annoying, and there are a lot of moving parts, a lot of different things to consider, things that I wasn't thinking about that I have to now think about, and things overlap, and it's just so many areas where I could drop the ball, and it's so easy to just be oh my God, this is too much. But one thing that being a single mom has taught me is that if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. So I might as well get started. And that's kind of the way that I have to do things. Sometimes I don't feel like it. Often I don't feel like it. But then when I think about it, nobody else is there to do it. It's me. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't have a team. It's me, But anyway, so today I had to clean up the mess that was created when I was not paying attention to red flags. I talked about my tendency in the past to see red flags and, hide them behind my back and oh, we don't want that out there, that looks odd, but I'll just move it out the way. I did that enough times till I was just wait a minute. And really started to pay attention and realize oh, those really aren't decorations. So today I spent the greater part of my day discovering more red flags that I ignored and cleaning up the fallout from not paying attention to what was obviously before me. So, and it's been exhausting. It's been a lot of work, and it's just I think that of all things today, the one thing that I wasn't paying attention to, and this is the message for today, is that when you find yourself in a situation where where someone screws you over, or where you're in a relationship that you thought was going to be great and it ended up being shit, or when you find yourself, in a situation you didn't anticipate, like you thought like this time it's going to be good and it wasn't. To not turn on yourself. I think that that's been one of the hard things, but also one of the areas that I want to be proud of myself for, is that maybe early on I was kind of like, I wasn't like, you idiot, which is how I would have handled it in the past. It was more like, dang, I didn't even see that, but it was right in front of me. And even just that is better than you idiot. And then it turned into, wow, this really shows me how I need to be more observant in the future. And then my inner dialogue became, you know what? I didn't see what was before me because the other person didn't want me to see what was before me. And I fell for that. But I saw what I wanted to see because I wanted it to be a good thing. And I wanted to believe the person. And it's like sometimes we can be so hard on ourselves for like being good people, or being a good-hearted person, or being someone that if a person takes advantage of you or whatever, that we're like, oh, I'm too nice. And then being mad at ourselves, like, but I'm not looking at myself like I'm too nice. If anything, the main thing that I learned from the experience is to not allow other people to cause me to ignore my discernment. Because when I really want things to be a certain way, I'll ask the person, like, it looks like you're quacking. And I could have swore that you just waddled. And if I'm not mistaken, those look like webbed feet. You sure you're not a duck? And then the person, of course, is going to be like, no, I'm no duck. And then I'll say, well, you certainly are looking like a duck, but if you say you're not a duck, I guess I'll trust you. So I think the greatest lesson of this experience is, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, like if it's quacking and waddling, and it's got a bill, don't let someone convince you it's a swan. Like, trust your gut. Trust what you see. Trust what you observe. That was the main thing that I realized, is that when I started to notice things, I didn't trust myself to just say, like, this is what I see. It's like I always believe, like I said yesterday, I always want to believe the best about people. So I'll give them another chance, or I'll give them another, like, well, explain it to me, because what it looks like is, like I want it to be right. I want it to be the way they say it is. I will hold on too long, or I have in the past held on too long because I wanted it to be right. I didn't want, and the thing that I kept saying this time was, I just don't want another failure. And my dear friend, she, I call her my coach because she just has the most amazing insights. And she said something like, are you sure that you're not taking on someone else's failures as your own? And I had to really think about it. Like, if somebody's doing me wrong and I'm showing up authentically in love, in truth, in kindness, in hope, in giving someone a chance, but they have different intention, am I the one who failed? Is it my failure that I was a trusting, loving, positive, optimistic person? Or did they fail, in being a good intentioned human? I just need to be, instead of beating myself up, I need to be really kind to myself, because that's the thing. I was talking to somebody who was being bullied, and after their experience of being bullied, they became very self-critical. And I was just like, you're becoming like the people who hurt you. Like, do you want to be your own bully too? And the thing is, and I didn't mean it like from a place of judgment, but it was just like, you've been hurt enough. Don't join the team and hurt you too. Like, somebody's got to be on your side. And that's where I am with this situation and just life in general, is that I'm beginning to lean toward being on my side. When people are doing me wrong, that I'm not turning on myself too. That I'm looking like, man, that's unfortunate that that happened and they were wrong for that. Instead of, you idiot, you always letting people take advantage of you. When are you going to learn? Like, how is that helpful? So for today's oh Lord, I do this every time. For today's Let's Try July growth opportunity, I want you to pay attention to your inner voice. And when you find yourself wanting to lean toward being self-critical, like being mean, to choose to be compassionate. Choose to see yourself through the eyes of love, not judgment. So my challenge to you is to recognize the opportunities, and when you have an opportunity to be mean to yourself, to try being compassionate instead. Try being understanding. Try seeing it from your perspective. After you've been through something, it's a lot easier to see all the little pitfalls and the mistakes and the issues that can come, that, all the things like, you could have seen this. Why didn't you see that? It was so obvious. But the thing is that in it, you didn't see that. And there was a reason, and there were probably multiple reasons why you didn't see it that way, or why you didn't do this differently. And now that it's over, now you have all the information. So of course you can make a better decision. But when you were in it, you couldn't see all of that. To be kind to ourselves and stop acting like we always knew what we now know, because like after this situation, every time every few minutes, I'm just like, oh, and that's what that meant. Oh, and oh my goodness, they even told me that they were going to do blah, blah, blah. And I didn't even see it that way. Wow. Like, it's just like, I've just been one after the other, like, oh my goodness, it was all in front of me. But it's like I was talking about on one of the other podcasts, where I was talking about the reticular activating system of the mind, how it helps you to focus on what you've told your mind is important. Now, if I've told my mind to ignore the red flags because I said that's not important right now, then it's like it sees it, but it doesn't see it. But if I'm telling my mind, look for evidence that this person is true and on the right page with me and all that kind of stuff, then my mind is like, oh, okay, well, look at, they did this, they did that. Look at this. Look at what they just said over here. Look at this experience. But now on the other end, I'm looking at everything and I'm seeing all of it. I'm not just seeing the part I wanted to focus on. Now everything is open and it's just like, ooh. The details start to be very obvious, but it's after the fact, because that one piece of information fills in so many gaps. And then it's like, oh, and that's why that makes sense. And that's why that makes sense. And that's why that makes sense. But the only reason is because we filled in such a major gap with new information. So that's where I am right now, is that I have new information and now everything is obvious. And I have to move accordingly. I had to recognize that quacking was really quacking. And that waddle was not just a weird limp. And in seeing all of the things, to still be on my side, to not turn on myself. And that's what I'm asking you to do, is to not turn on yourself. If you're going through a situation, or if you're still dealing with a situation that maybe happened a while ago, where somebody like broke your heart or hurt you, or, you thought they were for you and they really were against you, or, whatever, a best friend slept with your man, or your man slept with your mom, like, whatever sorry if that's what really happened to you. But whatever the circumstance is, to not turn on yourself, to be your compassionate support person, saying like, damn, that's really fucked up. And I'm sorry, I'm with you through this. Rather than like, you idiot, you always go after these kind of people. You always, if anything, don't turn it into, you idiot, you always go after these kind of people. Turn it into, you know what? We're not going through this again. Like, be your own ride or die. Like, we will not go through this again. Let's sit here at it, look at it, and see, where did we fall off at? Where did this, where did this go wrong? What were the red flags? Let's make a list so that next time no one can get over on us. Because that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I'm looking like, okay, I see this, I see this, I see this. Okay, I got the playbook now. Because I've been through this before. So now, and I went through it in a very strong way. Like my mentor, I actually had mentioned her on a previous podcast. She's the one who had recently passed away. She taught me one thing in particular that I will never forget. And she said that God will teach you a lesson in a way that you'll never forget it. That lesson that I learned from the past is what allowed me to recognize when things weren't lining up. And instead of being on the, you should have seen this coming. You've been through this before. How you gonna fall for that again? No. This time I handled things differently. This time I was in my power and was like, I'm going to make different moves. And this time I chose to love myself and meet myself with compassion and not beat myself up. This is Marlene Dillon Empowerment Specialist. Have an amazing whatever time of day it is for you. Blessings. To learn more about me, Marlene Dillon Empowerment Specialist, please visit mdillondesigns.com. There you can find more podcast episodes. You can read my inspirational blog. You can check out my online store of personalized gifts featuring the characters from my empowering children's book, I'm Proud to Be Natural Me. You can find parenting resources, including my online communication course, Healing Our Families, Healing the Parent-Child Relationship. Please follow and share if you found this podcast inspiring. Thank you and have an amazing day.